Okay, setting her up for the first cut. I'm not going to get into leveling it or tuning it up and that. It's going to be an affair, and I'll make a detailed video on adjusting this later. But right now, let's just go and see. We'll set up, take a cut. We'll see two things I'm going to try to test out. It's a 1-inch hunk of stock. This is stress-proof steel. And what I did is I found with your generic tool post holder, I do have a quick change tool post holder, and that will be easier to get on center and adjust, made for this machine. But I was just curious of what you got without buying an add-on, and I believe that's a 5/8 shank on there, so it's a 5/8 tool holder. You can shim smaller ones up, but 5/8 is probably what goes in there. And I just got this old, I went through my box and found this one that's cut kind of odd. It looks like a rougher of some sort with a giant radius on the nose. But I got that in there, shimmed it up, got it on center. And I kind of had to, because of the shape of the tool, cock this off to the side and get it on. So basically what I want to do is see what I get on a diameter when I turn this dial, and see if it's a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 ratio, and just to give it a test and see how it cuts. I'll take some light cuts. I'm running it about 600 RPM and feeding it about 3 inches of revolution. I didn't look up the exact thing. I'm just fooling around. If we tear up the bit, it doesn't matter. That's one that's been laying around in my toolbox forever. And we're just going to do a little test, and I'm going to cut like 10 thousandths or so, and then maybe make some heavy cuts and see if we got some balls behind this machine or not. Alright, so the first thing you do is you get it in there and shim it up, and you want to get it on center. How do you check center? Well, you can do it one way. Since this thing was turned at one time, you just kind of turn it in, feed it in once you get it in there, and eyeball it, and it looks fairly well on center. Okay. Or you could do the old timer trick, what I used to do when I ran an engine lathe. You wheel it in up to the stock, and you take a 6-inch scale, hold it up like that, and then just feed it in. I'll do that. I can't do both of it and operate the camera. Like I said, you just feed it in till it touches, and then you look from this way, and it looks pretty much on center. Might not be perfect, but that's the down and dirty way to set your tool on center real fast. Okay, we're going to take a few light cuts just to see what we get, so we'll start her up. The tool geometry may be a little off, it's kind of dragging on there, so Yeah, it's should be cocked a little more, but take these light cuts and we'll see. One inch, 200, 275, almost 278, a little shy of that, 278. Or I'm sorry, 1 inch, 278 thousandths. So let's go turn 10 on this dial and see if we take 10 thousandths off. Yeah, I can tell that tool geometry, the face of the tool, there's no relief there, but we're just going to, like I said, we're just testing. And that's the only 5/8 tool I could find right offhand. Okay, 55, 58. So it's 2 to 1. 50, 60, 70. Every one of these is a thousandths, I believe. Yeah. What was it? $78. $58. Yep, so it's 2 to 1. So every thousandths on this dial goes in a thousandths and basically takes 2 thousandths off the diameter. So if you want to remove a thousandth, you go in the middle. So it's a 2 to 1 lathe. Okay, that I've established. Now the way this cutter is, damn screwed up. I may just cock it more and get the relief, and we'll have an angle there. Maybe try taking a 50 thousandths cut just to see if I can get 50 thou on this. Alright, what I did is I just loosened this, shifted it a little, and got it so that the relief, there was hardly no relief and it was like rubbing. So I got the relief here, and see, this tool is ground weird. That's probably why I got it in the box. But what we're going to do is try to take a 50 thousandths cut, which would be 100 thousandths on the diameter. We'll take a healthy cut and see how this machine reacts. You know, so if it starts acting up, I'm going to stop it. But since we moved it, we got to retouch it off. That's about 50 thou, pretty heavy cut. kind of want to leave a little bit of cut fluid. Let's see which goes. I'll go on by hand. It's taking it pretty damn good. Getting a little cutter deflection. They're not as rigid. That was a pretty healthy damn cut. So this machine really has most of all the power that I need. Okay, 2-inch 57. Or 1-inch 257, it should be 1-inch 157. Seven. 1-inch 61. So you got a little bit of pressure and deflection, but it almost took that 100 thousandths off. So this machine's got, you know, for me, enough power. And getting the right speed and feed and the proper tools would make the job easier, but it didn't stall, it didn't hesitate, whined a little, but once it got the cut going. So the machine, for my needs, the size, and the power, the two horsepower motor, is pretty damn good. It's a pretty capable machine for its weight class and what we're paying. You know, it's not a bad deal. I like it. Handle that pretty good. So, the chips are a little dark, but you know, more work getting the proper speed and feed, a good tool. You know, this is something I just found. It's been laying in my toolbox 20 years. But so far I like it. You know, next I'm going to go on checking the level, checking the straightness, and trying to adjust this, seeing how bad the wobble is. But we can do something real quick here, just for fun. I'm going to use my calipers to check for taper real quick. Okay, it's telling me 58 here. A little over 60 there, so you got about 2 thousandths taper, which could be cutter deflection, or we got to kind of true up the lathe and get it straight, aligned right. Something this small is pretty good cut. More on that when we go. That's it for the first cut. So we got it running. It works. Takes a pretty healthy cut. It's got some power to it. So I might. It is a holiday weekend. I might call it quits and then just get back to this either next weekend or work on it a little tomorrow on the fine tuning.